Didn't see you guys there. What's going on? Somer del Piso here, back once again with yet another video. It is almost midnight, 15 minutes from it to be exact, and it is March 25th. It is the night, the day and night of the full moon. I have been playing Persona 3 Reload a lot, and Persona 3 surround the phases. All the events of the game sort of occur within the phases of the moon. Something very disastrous happening on the full moon, the nights of the full moon in the game. So I decided to go out and get some research on the full moon and sort of observe its effects, especially on a practitioner of semen retention like myself, and see if the two are even connected. So today we're going to get right into that. We're going to talk about semen retention and its connection to the full moon. For the people that have been sort of living in a rock, right, or under a rock, like a homeless Flintstone, the moon is essentially this satellite. Not the satellite as we know that's made of metal, alloy, titanium. No, but a satellite which is something that sort of orbits a bigger thing. Sort of like in Mean Girls, when Lindsay Lohan really wanted to orbit Rachel McAdams. A horrible reference, but you guys get the picture. Something that is orbiting a bigger thing. The moon goes through phases based on how much light from the sun is shining on a part of the moon that is visible to a certain region of the earth. Very, very interesting stuff. Technically, when a full moon is a full moon, it's not really a full moon. It is just one side of the moon that's shown to our particular hemisphere of the planet at a specific time. And of course, there are certain effects that come about. We're going to get into that later. We don't know if the conduit for the transmittance of some of the molecules from the moon, or however it works, we don't know how these effects are transmitted or implemented upon the practitioners. Through this medium, right, either lights or the light of the moon or the gravitational pull, there is a debilitation of strength that befalls the body of the practitioner. Honestly, it's nothing that can be done about this. It's only but for a day, and that needs to be sort of powered through. Perhaps we can talk about how semen retention practitioners are affected by the rays of the full moon. Perhaps there are retention practitioners out there that are affected in these various ways and not understanding how to proper navigate, or perhaps doing something a little more toxic, which is trying to actively circumvent the effects due to some weird intervention of some sort. But you have to just let it happen. It happens for a day, and you just have to sort of live through it. So let's just start by talking about what exactly the moon is. So the moon is a rock, essentially. It's a huge rock that has various craters on it and whatnot due to some sort of event that happened long ago in history. I'm not very sure of. A rock that basically is a satellite around our planet, and due to its range and distance from the Earth, there are various effects that happen on the planet due to its rotation around the Earth, such as the affecting of tides, high and low tides, incitation of lunacy in some individuals. There are various effects that happen to individuals due to the light or the gravitational pull of the full moon. I'm not exactly sure on what the conduit is that the moon uses to enact these effects on the citizens of the Earth. There is a conduit. We're going to assume that is through light, through the filtering of the light from the sun. We're going to go with that. Why does it affect people? We can go to physics for this, right? The bigger something's mass is, the much strong of a pull it'll have. Like, say, black holes. Black holes are incredibly massive, right? Massive just means something with a lot of mass, something that takes up a lot of space. So due to a black hole being incredibly dense and massive, it has a very, very strong gravitational pull. The moon, because it's of a certain size, a big size, it enacts its own gravitational pull. That gravitational pull, because us denizens of the Earth are sort of trapped in the middle of two effects of the gravitational pull, right? The Earth having, its own gravitational pull due to its massive size, and the moon, of course, when it is in its full moon phase, upon a certain hemisphere, it will enact more strongly than if it were in another phase, say, like, such as waning gibbous, waning or new moon. And of course, to the semen retention practitioner, there is, of course, a slight uncomfortability. There is a sense of urgency for doing a lot of things. Perhaps this uncomfortable feeling, it's almost as if like it's a small pin prodding you in your shoe that you can't get rid of. It causes you to do things. It puts fire in your belly. It puts a pep in your step for doing things. But you are incredibly uncomfortable. Of course, in legend, there were, of course, the people that turned into werewolves when they looked at the full moon, or wolves get a little crazier on a full moon, things like that. And that's due to the people trying to find some sort of way to explain the incitation of lunacy through the rays of the moon. Well, the rays of the sun filtered through the moon, or filtered around the moon. To the practitioner, there are effects of memory loss, slight memory loss. I'm going to tell you that the memory loss doesn't affect me incredibly gravely. Like, say I forget someone's name or something like that. I'm having a conversation with someone, for example, and I'm forgetting about like certain topics that were covered that 5 minutes ago. I'm forgetting about like small details that I would usually remember on nights or days that aren't of a full moon, that would carry the conversation straight and much more fluid. I understand that would probably affect a lot of other practitioners too. And when I say affecting other practitioners, I'm talking about people that are doing the semen retention practice that are at a minimum of 2 months. When you are at a minimum of 2 months, there is a rejuvenation that is in full acceleration and effect in the body due to the 2 months prior of accumulating the God particles from the digestion of food, the refining of everything that you are intaking and ingesting into the body. Due to the accumulation of these particles, you are enacting a shield to a lot of the effects of the full moon, so you are not affected as, say, strongly as another individual, right? That's not necessarily on the practice. We covered already memory loss. We covered lunacy. The light of the moon could serve as a sort of supercharge to the cells of the body and cause strange situations to happen. As someone that is almost 3 months into the practice, straight on this current streak, I am no stranger to strange situations or weird occurrences. On the train today, there was this old man that seemed to only have an eye for me on the train. I saw him when he came into the train, and he was just staring at me. It was a crowded train where I was on the way to work. And he comes up to me and starts talking to me, saying he was taken to court by his son, I believe, because his wife sort of urged him to try to get some money out of the old man because they were trying to say that he's old and he is incapable of handling finances in a sound way. Of course, the judge laughed him out of the courtroom with that. He then asked me, "Do you drink at all?" And I said, "No, I haven't drank for 8 years." And then he said, "That's impressive, but what's even more impressive is staying away from women for that long, and I don't think that's possible." Situations like this sort of happen every day. I do think that they occur a little bit more often on days of the full moon, because I had a lot of crazier events earlier this morning, such as a lot of stairs at the gym. I would talk to some people, they would just stop talking, after a little while and literally walk away. These are a lot of the occurrences that will happen to the practitioner on days of the full moon. By the way, just to add some closure to that old man conversation, I did tell him I am doing very well on avoiding women so far. So hopefully I'll see him in a couple of years and tell him how my adventure is going. What you want to do as a practitioner is allow the full moon to affect you. Live through the day, whether some parts of that be chaotic or some parts of that be a little linear or a little offbeat, right? A little not very fluid. Even though the full moon is enacting its gravitational pull upon the denizens of the planet, we are still locked within the path of fate. These effects were meant to happen. It is to make sure that the scales are balanced. Any sort of thwarting of that will, of course, lead to a lot of discomfort. There needs to be an understanding amongst the retentioners, right, the practitioners, that this is just a day A full moon occurs every 29 days, and if there are deleterious effects that occur, then allow it to happen for the day and carry on with your life the following day. Right, so we went over the various effects of the full moon upon the denizens of the planet, and of course, more specifically, more importantly in this video, the practitioners of semen retention. We went over the fact that some of these effects can not only be deleterious, bad, debilitating, but rather good if worked with in the correct way. At the end of the day, my message to people in general is that stagnancy is the enemy of growth, is the enemy of development, of true ascension. If we are seeking to find some way to stay within a set, rigid routine, then we will never be able to advance, we'll never be able to get better, and our situations that are a little trapping will never ever open for us. Allow the chaotic effects that may happen in a 24-hour period due to the full moon, right? Let it happen, because it is only for a time, and then afterwards things change, you change, and you go on with your life. Perhaps having learned something in that chaos. There's always a lesson to be learned, there's always experience to be had. And with that being said, Sombra del Piso out. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, I'm glad you watched it anyway to the end, because that's a great thing. At the end of the day, I'm here to tell you that this is just a construct, right? Don't let this world ever get you down. It is only temporary, right? There's nothing. This is nothing. The full moon, ultimately, lasts in a 24-hour period of nothing, of chaotic nothingness. Let these things happen, flow through life, and eventually you'll get where you desire. Me, I'm desiring to get down to South America. This is where I'm trying to go, right? Or anywhere outside of the West. But I am trying to be less rigid and trying to take my advice of just going with the flow. So as I say, don't let this place get you down, and stay radiant. I'll see you guys in the next video.